Hello and welcome to the Spiraling Higher podcast, hosted by me, Sam, mindset and manifestation coach.
And me, Gina, your biz and mindset coach. We're here to support you on your spiritual journey by bringing you intimate and raw conversations about healing, manifestation, consciousness, and spirituality.
We hope this podcast makes you feel less alone as you become aware of your patterns and limiting beliefs to up-level your life, manifest like a boss, and together, spiral higher. Welcome back, Spiralers, to the Spiraling Higher podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Sam, and I'm here with Gina.
Hello, hello.
And we were actually just laughing before hitting record because we talked about how many times we've been in sessions where our eyes are supposed to be closed. But because we're Asian, we can just kind of open them a little bit without looking like they're open to see what's going on.
Especially with lashes. You really can't see.
Yeah, you really can't. You really can. And there's been a couple different, maybe more than a couple sessions where obviously I'm being asked to close my eyes. And I just want to peek around the room. I just
want to take a little look.
I just want to take a little look-sees. I just want to take a peek. And I just, squint them open a little bit. They still look closed though. Like I'm looking at myself in the computer camera right now and I can see. They look
close
closed.
Your eyes all the way and then peek.
I know you can't see that, listeners, probably, but yeah, there was almost an imperceptible difference between being completely closed and peeking open a little. But I've seen some pretty funny things happening when I finally
take a little
peek
gander.
Open. Yeah, when I take a little gander.
When you do a little scanny scan.
I think we actually recorded an episode about this esoteric session we had sometime last year, and it was a Zoom session, remember?
Yeah, you told that story.
I told the story, yeah. Okay, yeah. Where our eyes were supposed to be closed, and I opened them, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I just took a little peek at the Zoom screen and was like, I don't know what's happening virtually right now.
I will say that I'm usually too scared to peek just in case, unless I know for sure that the person won't see. So I don't know if I would have the guts to do that.
You're scared to get caught peeking?
Yeah. I don't want anyone to even think that I'm peeking. So I'll only do it. As an example, I'll never forget this one time I did a Reiki session, and I've had multiple Reiki sessions and some that I really feel a lot moving and shifting and changing. Yeah. And I've also done ones where I'm like, is anybody even in here? And so
I have to peek during Reiki sessions. I'm like, did they leave the room?
Totally. And so that was the one time where I could just sense her body, I could feel was kind of around my feet. And I just looked, and that's when I was like, I'm never coming back here. Because I was like, this is not working.
Well, I think what that speaks to more of is that we're all already in a state of a bit of disbelief. And so maybe that's what's not working. Yeah, it's us peeking and us checking.
I don't know. I think it could be in a lot of cases, especially for that one session that we did together. I think we kind of walked into that one quite skeptical. Mm-hmm. But with the Reiki one, I had such a good experience that I didn't walk into it with any doubt. I just thought it was going to feel similarly. And when it didn't, that's when I developed the doubt.
Is that peaked. The most, that's when I developed the doubt and peaked. What's the most, I guess, profound energy session you've ever had, or energy healing?
Ooh, I've had a couple. So one I did with this shamanic healer, and it was actually virtual.
Wait, who? When?
This was a few years ago. Did I not tell you about that?
I don't think so. I'm glad I asked the question. I thought I would have known.
Now you're learning something.
Answer.
It was recommended to me by a friend who you know too. And I just did one. And then, this is obviously aside from breathwork and somatic sessions. That to me has always been. But in terms of more energetics, like you were saying, that was one. And then Winifred was another one. She was somebody that we had interviewed in the first season. And I had virtual sessions with her and did feel some shifts there. But yeah, I would say the shamanic one. And then the Reiki one. It was the first Reiki I'd ever done. And I was kind of not expecting anything. I would say I did walk into that one quite skeptical. Like, what do you mean you're just going to like wave your hands around me? I didn't really understand even what it was. And
Right.
so, but I could feel my whole body. It got super hot and like the temperature was almost like moving all around. And yeah, I would say that was probably mine. What about you? I feel like I know what yours is.
Really? Okay, guess.
Like the 8 hour thing that you did?
Okay, so I've done a quantum healing hypnosis session. That's the QHHT session I had with Marilyn,
Mm-hmm.
who is in Maple Ridge, BC. Um, I wouldn't say that was the craziest energy healing experience because I didn't feel energetically different afterwards. It was more like I got insight from my subconscious.
Right.
So she spoke to me when I was in a hypnotic state and asked me
Mm,
questions. And I went on these like past life journeys, or you could call them simultaneous life journeys. I'm not sure. But I didn't feel particularly changed by that. It was more like it just piqued my curiosity a lot. And honestly, even as I asked you what your most profound energy sort of healing session was, I was having a hard time recalling for me what would be the most healing because I think I honestly do go into them with a lot of doubt.
yeah, you're not really like an energy healing,
Like I
like,
believe in energy, obviously. Like I
of
know,
course.
yeah, like I'm an energetic being, you're an energetic being. I believe in the energy of spaces, practices, intentions. But yeah, I think with this whole energy transference thing, I obviously understand that people's energy can impact and influence mine, but I don't know. What I will say though is that I had an experience recently where my partner and I went to go see Carrie at Zenden,
Mm-hmm.
who you're familiar with. She came on our podcast actually. She was
Yep.
episode 8, I
Was it
think,
8?
8 or 9, maybe.
Somewhere around there.
But I went to one of her Reiki sessions, not because I like wanted Reiki, but because I wanted the sound bath, and she does
Mm-hmm.
incredible sound baths. And it was so funny. She came around and she touched my feet, and for like 20 minutes, I was like, man, she's been touching my feet for like a long time. Like she like pressed down on them. And in my mind, I was like, she's still here. And then I was like, I need to peek because is she supposed to be standing here like for as long as she
Right.
is? Like I felt her hands on my feet. I opened my eyes and she wasn't there. And I was like,
Mm.
interesting. Then when the session was over, some people like shared things. And one of the people actually said, like, oh, you were at my feet for like a really long time. And I was like, oh my God, me too. Then afterwards, I talked to my partner about it and he was like, dude, she stayed at my feet for like 20 minutes. And I was like, no, she was at my feet for 20 minutes. So that was an interesting experience where I felt, I guess, the presence or like transference of
Mm-hmm.
energy through that body part that she had made contact with, to the point where I thought her hands are literally still there, but she had walked away. And it wasn't an experience in isolation. Like multiple people felt this way.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just a really interesting one where I was like, wait, no, your hands are, you stayed with me for 20 minutes. And she probably was only there for 20 seconds.
Imagine she just has like people in dark clothing that just come out and just like put their hands down and then run out and hide behind
Imagine.
the curtains.
But you know what? Another really significant experience was when we were in Tulum hosting our
I was
retreat.
just going to say that.
Yeah, the Spiraling Higher retreat back in November, which was such an incredible experience. We had the cacao ceremony with Amaya, who was the leader of that ceremony, and she spoke fully in Spanish. And then she had a translator, but I understood at least like 65% of what she said. And I remember going into that session feeling a little bit like, okay, I've done this before. I know what to expect, but I had a very interesting experience there. And I know she didn't touch us. She had like instruments, like hand played instruments. And then, yeah, they spritzed, I don't know, some
They
like,
came around and did that like, I don't
right,
know
the
what it was,
the
kind of like
feather with like,
brushing. Yeah. And
yeah.
that sound, it was like, yeah, that was cool when he was walking around with an instrument and it felt like that was like massaging my energetic field. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was like
Yes. I
da-da-da-da-da.
definitely
Yeah.
felt as if I was being almost like shooken from the inside, like
Yeah.
almost as if someone was grabbing my body and like shaking me all up, but I was obviously laying still. And I
Mhm.
really felt the felt sense of like the external shell that was my body, but then
Mm.
like the energetic sort of whirling and swirling of energies that also composed my body or is housed within my body. It just, yeah, it was a really
Hmm.
weird experience. And what was really cool about that was each of us shared some somatic experiences that we had. I
Mhm.
shared something and she actually had said, "You're about to move," which is weird because I was
Yep.
literally about to move. And then other girls said, "Oh, I felt this in my throat or I felt this on my shoulder." And then it was super in alignment with what everyone had shared in
Yeah.
our sessions. So yeah, that was quite profound.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, this is kind of a little bit different, but I would say one of my favorite energetic feelings is when we are at a retreat, and I always lead breath work or a meditation at the beginning of every day. And I love when everyone's in a circle and you can actually like feel the collective energy.
Mm.
Obviously, everyone's having also their own experience too, but sometimes one of the things that I've invited in a group is kind of like hands out if you feel like you have energy and love to kind of give, and hands kind of open to receive if you want to receive. And in those kind of circles, I find that really beautiful. And you can feel
Mhm.
that kind of, I don't know, there's a different signature to the air and the energy around in that room. So I would say that that's
Yeah.
some of my other favorite energetic experiences.
Yeah, I love when you lead breath work at our retreats. And speaking of retreats, I wasn't going to mention this, but we're actually launching our next retreat.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's going to be another exclusive, incredible experience in Mexico for the Spiraling Higher ladies. We have only 10 spots, and that's going to happen in Cabo, Mexico, June 7th through 10th.
Hmm.
So mark your calendars. I think we will have the link in the show notes for this episode when it releases for us to go live with that.
Hmm.
And guess what? The first two people to sign up get a $500 discount. So, woohoo!
Abundance.
Abundance.
Yes, I can't wait to go. We're going to be in Cabo. I don't know if you said Cabo or not, if you just said
Hmm.
Mexico, but yeah, and it'll be kind of a pre birthday celebration for me.
Oh,
Entering
yeah.
into June and entering into the Cancer season. So, yeah, we're very excited for that. I can't wait.
Very excited. I think it's definitely my favorite thing that we do all year is the retreat.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, the girls from the last retreat, so cute. They actually had their own Zoom chat
Yeah,
meetup
I went to
last.
that.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't get to
I
go.
know. It was so good. I'm just kidding. It was amazing.
I know it was.
I mean, I had to sign off early too because Emmeline was sick, but it was really nice. And I think that that's one of the things that I feel so much joy in what we've created is the communities that
Yeah.
have kind of ripple affected out from us creating this space and seeing the way that people connect. And that retreat was so special because no one really knew anybody, like at all. And yeah, I love seeing how connected they are, and they still support each other through
Yeah.
their stuff, which is
It
amazing.
felt like by the end of the weekend, everyone had known each other for such a long time. And
Yep.
that's just speaks to the level of frequency and resonance because I think resonance creates closeness way more than time or distance.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it was so incredible to gather everyone, even from night one, and realize that we didn't have a lot of catching up to do because
No.
we're all in the same place energetically and we're all going through the same things and we have the same language and same
Yeah.
intentions. And so
We were
yeah,
all
there was
caught
just
up.
an all caught up. It was such
Yeah.
an incredible gathering and sharing of ourselves and exchange. So yeah, that's gonna happen in June. I'm really excited for that. But for today's episode, Gina and I felt like we hadn't done something random and just for fun, JFF, in a
JFF.
while.
Mhm.
Yeah, when's the last time we had like a JFF episode? We rated
I wanna say, like,
ourselves like a
last
long time ago.
summer. I feel like it was,
Last
like, last
summer?
summer, kind of, yeah, end of summer last year. We did the Rate Ourselves one. We also did, I feel like we did another JFF one.
Maybe like a story time. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like one of our highest intentions for this podcast, other than of course providing insights and having conscious conversations and guests to, of course, move you along your journey towards more love and more awareness, we also just wanted to have a lot of fun. And we were
Yeah.
like, you know those like fun like YouTube videos where people are like, what are the ones where like if you're gonna get married, it's like how many
Like,
questions
yeah,
can you
like
answer?
the
Oh
newlywed
yeah.
game,
You were like, let's
or
do the
just
newlywed
I
challenge.
really,
LOL.
I actually still want to do that, because I'm so curious to know like what you would think I would answer, and vice versa. And yeah, there's other like BFF games, or I don't know. We had done one. I guess it was the rate yourself one. Yeah, that must have been it, because I remember just like laughing a lot at our differences, and I
Yeah, and
love that you said that.
I wonder how we'd rate ourselves now.
Yeah, we were thinking about doing that again, because I actually think my answers would be quite different.
Hmm.
I feel like yours would be
We
too.
should go back and record what our answers were. So when we did
Yeah.
this, I think it was like episode 37 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
30 something. But we went through and found a bunch of different traits like uniqueness or confident, independent, things like this, and just kind of went with the first intuitive answer between 1 through 10. And the one that I remember the most was uniqueness, because I said 10 and you said 1, and I was like, "What?" And you were like, "Yeah, I don't know. Like I just like don't feel like I'm unique." And I said, "But there's only one you. How could you not be?"
But that's a thing. It's like the feeling of it, right? It's like do you
Mm.
feel unique? Not like, do you know if you are?
I mean, if you knew you were, then wouldn't you feel it?
No,
Interesting.
not at all.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I guess you can know, like, oh, like the universe loves you, or like that you are loved and protected, but that doesn't necessarily mean you'd feel safe and loved.
I mean, I think like the easiest example there is when we know our parents love us, but we don't feel it.
Mm,
I would say that's probably the strongest example.
yeah. And then on the macro level, like you could say like God
Yeah.
or God source universe, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, that is true.
Yeah.
Okay,
The
yeah.
one.
How would you answer that now? How would you rate your
Ooh.
uniqueness now?
Hmm. I know, because it's so hard too, because of like how the question's being asked, like rating my uniqueness or rating like how unique I feel. Um, I'd probably bring that up to maybe a 5, mainly because it's like neutral to me. I don't feel like ununique, but I don't feel like I'm so unique either. I would say it's an even 5.
Okay, interesting. And you know what? It actually made me realize that my answer has changed too.
Are you at a 5?
I would bring myself down to about a 6 now. And I have a good reason for that. So I still believe that I am a unique human being, as in one of a kind,
Yes.
1 in a million, only one me. But through having so many healing dialogues with clients, colleagues, friends, I'm actually seeing that we're all healing the identical patterns.
Yes. Yes.
And
we're so similar.
yeah, that has kind of taken away my uniqueness, but not in a negative way. It's actually made me feel more connected to others. Like, oh, like we literally all be doing this. Like we are literally all in fight or flight. We are literally all just trying to forgive and forget and like accept and move on. And I feel like in that sense, my uniqueness has gone down because I don't see my patterns as, you know how like when you're younger, you think you're the only one who's going through a thing? You're like, no,
Yeah.
you don't understand. But as I get older, I'm like, no, like you understand, right? Like you're an adult. You go through this. I'm like, come on, like you go through this.
Yeah, that's an interesting lens too, because even that uniqueness, because unique can obviously have so many different meanings depending on what context you're in. But I think in general, we're at least we're neighbors now. I'm a 5 and you're a 6.
At 5 and 6.
The one that stood out to me the most was tolerance.
Oh yeah, I'm still at like a 1 for that. I'm still at like a 1 for that. I have a really low tolerance for a lot of things. I mean, just before we hit record, Gina and I were talking about our windows of tolerance and in which ways those have either grown or shrunk. And obviously, one of the intents of healing is to expand your window of tolerance to things that you maybe coped with in negative ways or harmful ways in the past. And yeah, I'll just be really honest. I feel like my windows of tolerance are very slow to expand. Even with all the work that I do, even with the dedication and commitment I have to myself and my radical acceptance work, all the regulatory practices I do, or regulating, I should say, all the work and whole space I hold for clients, it's really hard to expand your window of tolerance.
I
But
mean, I love that you said that.
yeah. So for anyone who's listening, it's slow going. Like
Yeah.
I really thought that since I recorded that episode, which was like 2 years ago. Was that 2 years ago? Yeah, it was. It was 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
It was 2 years ago. Yeah, I don't want to talk about time. It's not real anyways.
Yeah.
But I really thought that my window of tolerance would have grown by, I don't know, something arbitrary, like 50 to 100%. Like that I would have experienced like a massive expansion. But if I'm being really honest, I'd say it's about 12%.
I mean, it's so funny because I don't think I could ever put a percentage on it. But I would argue actually differently for you. But again, it doesn't really matter what I think. It's how you feel. Because I've observed, I would say like multi-hundreds percentage.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. I just think it depends on what you're thinking about, though, because I'm sure there's certain things that maybe your window of tolerance hasn't expanded as much, because maybe it could be, a bigger wound or higher sensitivity or whatever the reason might be for anybody. But I also can see that there's other things that are easier to expand our window of tolerance too.
Thanks for saying that. I actually take back my 12%, which was a completely arbitrary number based on my felt sense at that time, but I've changed in the 1
30
minute.
seconds ago?
Yeah, since 30 seconds ago. You know what it is? Okay, as you heal on the spiraling higher journey and you spiral deeper into wounds, I think the reason why I perceive that my windows of tolerance haven't expanded as much as I thought is because the more they expand, the closer you get to the core of the wound.
Yes.
So what you actually are, I actually am becoming more tolerant to what I experienced 2 years ago, but that's not really what I'm experiencing as much anymore because I have more safety capacity to go closer and deeper.
Exactly.
And that feels still hard because I'm knowing myself more deeply than I used to. And so I'm actually realizing that if I were to apply the concept of window of tolerance to what I used to experience with respect to my patterns, actually it has grown a lot wider. But because I'm experiencing myself at a greater depth, I'm like, whoa, this feels still really difficult.
Yeah, because expanding your window of tolerance is not meaning that you don't have to tolerate things or that you're going to be in a space where you're not tolerating things. And so to your point, the deeper you go, the more you're quote unquote tolerating.
Yes.
Which feels like you're not able to tolerate anymore. But the only reason why you're there is because you've been able to pass through the other things you weren't able to tolerate before, but now you can. And so the thing that we can't tolerate just shifts.
Yes. I'm really glad we clarified that because since 1 minute ago, my perspective changed. It just switched paradigms quickly because I thought, wait, no, I definitely have become more tolerant to those previous things because I do remember there were times where like I'd experienced getting activated over like something stupid, like I don't know, not being able to print something. Okay.
I actually do remember one time you were really annoyed about that.
Just a silly example where like that would like kind of like send me into a little bit of a shitstorm for like a little while. And then I'd be like annoyed that I got annoyed about that. Now, oh my God, I could give like literally less than 1,000 like fucks about being able to print something.
Yeah.
But now what I'm tolerating is not my printer not working. It's like something deeper from within myself. And so, thank you. I think my window of tolerance has grown. So I'm going to bring myself up from a 1 to a 4.
Yeah, I think that's a great evolution from 12%. In just seconds, like that's how quickly you can expand.
Yeah, it really is all about mindset. There you go.
Well, it reminds me of like spice tolerance because I think you can get to a place where you can eat spicier and spicier foods, but that doesn't mean you can not have that sense of like a fiery tongue.
Right.
You know
like
what I'm saying?
It's still spicy.
It's still spicy. You can just tolerate more spice, but you're still having a reaction to spice in general.
Whoa. Gina, the metaphor queen. Because That's actually huge, because if you thought that your tolerance was only expanding by which
In the absence of having a spicy feeling. Yeah.
in the absence of the sensation of spiciness, then like you would literally think you were never growing a tolerance. But if you started with like a Tabasco and then started, I don't know, having like some, my husband actually eats a hot sauce called 100% pain. Don't really know why you would want to consume that, but he experiences it as spicy, but he obviously has a very huge spice tolerance
Mhm.
because he's choosing 100% pain.
Right. 100% pain. Yes.
It's literally what it's called, which is hilarious. Yeah. Okay. So yes, my tolerance level has gone from a 1 to a 4, all within 120 seconds.
Perfect. I love
Thank
it.
you. Thank you for
I
the
would
reframe.
say my tolerance is still, I would say, out of 10. That's what I gave myself last time. I have a pretty high tolerance. But again, it depends on what level you're talking about. Because I feel like when we were asking that question before, I don't think we were asking through the lens of nervous system, like window of tolerance. I think it was more tolerating. It felt like more like annoying things, like the paper printing, like you were saying.
Right. Which is actually your nervous system.
I was just going to say that, but it felt more like we were talking about things that like piss us off, or like tolerance for people. And kind of, I think in general, we, like even in real estate, we would always have conversations about certain clients and how, I mean, most people wouldn't have dealt with a lot of the clients that I had. And so stuff like that I had this high tolerance for dealing with maybe more difficult clients or difficult situations where other people might have been like, I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But yeah, I guess you're right. It is ultimately boiling down to the same. And honestly, it doesn't really matter what lens you're looking through. For me, I would say my tolerance is 10.
Yeah. That's a very, very positive trait about you. Something
You
that
think so?
I really admire it. Yes.
It's interesting to be on opposite ends of the spectrum, because I would say that my healing journey has been to not endure so much. Because having a high level of tolerance, we kind of put up with a lot. And I had zero boundaries because my level of tolerance was so high. Nothing felt like it was infringing on my boundaries.
True.
And so my journey has actually been to not tolerate as much and to adjust my boundaries. So I would say my tolerance is still a 10 in the sense that I do have a high tolerance for things. However, my boundary setting is also, I would say, getting to a 10. I'm still learning. Maybe I'll give myself a 7.
No, that's a really good point. Maybe for this particular rating ourselves scale, like where we should be is like 5. Like maybe that's the ideal. Yeah, like maybe that's the ideal place. Not 10, not 1, but in the middle, right? Because I think having a high tolerance is, I think we see that in society as a positive thing. Like if someone says, I have a high pain tolerance, or like I have a high tolerance for like stress, we see that as positive. I think to not be as tolerant of certain sensations or experiences, like we might see as childish, like that you're being petulant or that you're being stubborn, right? So, and I've definitely been told that by people before, that my lack of tolerance was childish and stubborn, which I don't disagree with completely. I'm again learning to move from my 1 to 4. And become more tolerant. And actually, I'm inviting a psychologist, or we're inviting a psychologist on eventually. I don't want to give away the name yet, but a lot of his work is based on what happens in childhood and how if you are given the opportunity to cry about things that are frustrating, whether they be big or small, such as tripping over a tied shoe or like an untied shoe, or not being able to have the ice cream before dinner. Like if you're not able to cry over these things, then you can become very stubborn because you weren't able to release expectations around that, learn that it was going to be okay if that didn't happen. That's a whole different topic, but I am excited for that in the future.
Yeah, it is interesting because I guess in my opinion, I don't really feel like there is any like wrong reason to cry. Which is interesting because I actually was not given any room to cry, but I did cry a lot. I just didn't do in the context of other people.
I think that is room to cry, though. Like you had room to cry with yourself.
Exactly, but just not with other people, but there was still room to cry. Like I knew that it wasn't okay to some people, but that never made me believe that I shouldn't.
which is really interesting.
It is interesting.
Because most people experience, like, if other people are like, don't do that, you shouldn't do that, it produces some sort of like suppression and guilt around the thing.
For me, it just felt like I couldn't not. It wasn't even really an option. It was just, I need to know where I can do this, and I'm going to have to do that alone.
Life of a Cancer.
Life of a Cancer.
Life of a Cancer. You're like, I can't not anyways, so I'm going to go to my room and cry.
Like, it'd be like if somebody was like, it's bad to pee. I'd be like, well, I still have to pee, so I'm just going to do it in this bush outside, where no one can see me. Yeah, exactly. But you can't physically not pee, which in my mind, peeing is the same as that you can't not cry.
Oh, you can for sure.
But you actually can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you actually can like stop the expression of tears. You can find suppression mechanisms, whether they be conscious or unconscious. Yeah, it's so interesting. Like, I definitely received the messaging that you cannot and should not cry unless someone is dying or has died. And if you do, it's weak, it's childish.
Kind of like inappropriate almost.
Inappropriate. I mean, that's kind of the word that comes up for me when I am crying, even still to this day. Like, it feels unacceptable.
Yeah, like, unacceptable, I would say, is a really big word, yeah.
Yeah, like, it's unacceptable and it's inappropriate. Like, it's too much. I never learned that any amount of crying was, like, fine. Which is so interesting because I love holding space for other people's tears. There is not actually a single ounce of me that's like, this is really inappropriate, or like, you should stop. Like, I really encourage the expression of that. And I like being around the expression of that, probably because it makes me feel safe. But yeah, I still to this day really struggle with the crying, which is why, yeah, we're going to have that psychologist on and talk about his research on kids and crying. And
I can't wait.
It's super important, guys. So if you didn't cry as a kid, you have some issues to work through, but that's why we're here. That's why we record this podcast for you.
We're here, yes. And the actual thing that inspired this episode was actually something that we ended up seeing on Instagram, and I had sent it to you. And it kind of goes in the same vein as this rating ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10, just like a fun little questionnaire-ish. And it's this screenshot of these, 9 different words, like animal, place, plant, character, and you're supposed to basically place an image that corresponds with that word and the person that you're doing it for. So as an example, animal, what do I think is an animal that represents Sam? And then you're supposed to kind of put that in these little squares, but we're going to do this verbally.
I pulled it up, so I have
Perfect.
Do you have animal, place, plant, character, season, hobby, color, crystal, food?
Oh, no. The bottom I have food, color, drink. What is your bottom 3? Crystal?
Crystal. But
what are the other ones? Food?
Let's just go in order of the one that you have.
Okay, fine. The first one is animal. I already have mine for you.
Okay.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say dolphin. Mainly because it's kind of what I think of you, because I know dolphin had like a spiritual meaning for you for a while there. So anytime I see one, I always think of you. But to me, they're so playful. And like, I've watched pods of dolphins like going right up to surfers and playing with them, like just so fearless, but they just always seem happy, like energetically. I feel like they just have a very playful energy, and they're jumping out of the water, and they're like, even when they're not in a show, like that's kind of their natural state, is to be playful and doing all these flips. Like if you were a dolphin in real life, you would definitely be hunted for all the tricks that you could do.
I'd be thriving, honestly. Dolphins are so Gemini coded, and I have a Gemini rising.
Totally. They're very chatty, and they're highly intellectual. And so I thought that one was good for you.
Oh, that was really good. Thank you for being so thoughtful.
You're so welcome.
About the dolphin.
I think the only one that I have like locked in.
I feel like my animal's so basic, but I can't see you as anything other than like a bunny. Like, you're a bunny. Like, you're just like a super soft, sweet. Like you evoke the feeling of cuteness. Like, I feel like people who know you intimately are like, you're cute and like sweet. And I
And
mean, you're a
cuddly.
Cancer. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
cute, sweet, cuddly,
I like it.
cozy.
I love bunnies, so
Also,
I'll
in
take it.
terms of like behavior, bunnies can be very skittish, but when they trust you, they want to be close to you.
Ooh, that went deep.
Yeah.
That went real deep. That's
Do you
so
resonate
true.
with bunny?
I do resonate with bunny. Funny side story, but my sister-in-law legitimately wanted, no, was it the other way around? It was either that my husband's parents wanted to name her Bunny Born, or that she had
Mm-hmm.
suggested that my child should be named Bunny. And I was like, absolutely not. So I could be Bunny Born.
Bunny born.
That could be
That's
me.
actually kind of cute.
It is kind of cute. What I'm going to change my handle to now, guys. Okay, next one is place. Oh, this one's really hard, but I think I've actually answered a question like this for you before. And I think I said the same thing. And I'm going to say the Amazonian jungle.
Yeah, savage. That sounds right.
Savage. No.
Savage,
No.
exotic, but beautiful.
No, don't. No, that's not. That's not why. To me, it's like, I feel like in a jungle, there's just so many different species and so many different corners of the jungle. And I think especially with you and I, the more that I get to know you, I'm constantly finding like a new plant and a new flower I didn't know that was there. It's also highly colorful, and really there's so many different things in there, and I feel like you embody so many different phases and not phases. I just think that you have so many different gifts and talents, and I just see you as such a bright, energy, and I feel like
Rainforest?
the rainforest jungle is bright and colorful
Oh,
and
now
lively.
I wish we could like populate the little grid with like
Well, we can do
pictures.
that
Like,
after.
okay, true.
We can do that
Okay.
after.
So for your place, I'd have to use ChatGPT to like generate an image because it's not a real place.
Oh, I see.
But if I were to generate the image of place, I'd ask ChatGPT to be like, hey, can you create
Hey.
I talk to her like it's a person.
I know.
So I'd be like, hey, can you create an image of a castle in the clouds with lots of light pinks, light purples? There's like cotton candy elements, but basically this castle is on the clouds. And this place is where you go to feel it's heaven.
I was just going to say, is it heaven?
It's where you go to feel peace. It's like above it all. Not that you're like above anyone, but like you're a very high frequency, and you're the frequency of peace and love and harmony. And so the reason why the place is not real is because there's no place that exists perfectly harmoniously. It's not, there's no utopias, but the place that would be you would be a utopia.
Aww. That's how I see I realize that the jungle also has a lot of like scary things in it, but I see it as just this thriving, always evolving, and there's so many magical things that are growing inside of it. And it's also kind of like mysterious in some ways. And I feel like, again, the more that I get to know you, not that I think you're mysterious, but there's always, like I said, something new to discover, I feel like.
A new species.
I
kind of like the integration of like the scary stuff because like honestly, yeah, that too.
I mean, yeah, that too. I think again, like that combination of something that can feel scary, but also so like alive and so like vibrant too. Yeah. And also just like a lot of sounds. There's a lot of different sounds you'd probably hear in there. And I just feel like you are a sound person. Like I feel like you would have a lot of sounds.
I like it.
The Gemini.
Do you like your cotton candy?
Why would I not like that? I'm a cloud princess.
Clouds.
Please sign me up immediately. I want to go there. Okay, plant.
Ooh, okay, I know mine.
Okay, you go first.
Wait, actually, no, I don't. Hold on. I pulled it up, but I want to make sure I like get the name right. Okay. So this says it's lavender stalk. So rather than being little lavender sprigs,
I
oh,
love
see,
that.
I just
Oh
showed you a
no, I think
picture.
it's a stock image.
No, because if I
No?
go down, it says
That's the name
it
of
says
it?
no, it says lavender stalk.
Oh, a stalk of
Yeah,
lavender.
yeah, lavender stalk flower, column stalk, lilac lavender. But it's like
Yes.
a bunch of lavender flowers all together in a stalk. Like this would be the most gorgeous like wedding bouquet for you. It's just a bunch of
Add to cart.
lavender. Yeah,
Add
it's
to
just a bunch
cart.
of lavender.
Love the lavender. I mean, if we're going to go floral, I see you as like a Hawaiian lei
I love that.
because they're usually quite bright colored. And you have a very like welcoming energy, which I feel like when you land in Hawaii, they're often kind of like putting
Aloha.
it aloha. And then they're at like the luau's and people
Mahalo.
are dancing. And I would say that.
I really like that.
All right.
I
We did
really,
flowers.
really like that.
Okay. Character. Man, oh man, that's a tough one. We purposely, by the way, did not look at these before this recording,
Beforehand.
which is why we're somewhat struggling to find. But character?
Okay, mine is really, really typical. Like I'm not going like that deep on the character in terms of like
All right.
there's so many characters, right? We could go so far. But this one's obviously very easy to identify. But to me, you're Cinderella.
What?
Yeah, because
I thought you were going to say
like,
Ariel.
No, you're nothing like Ariel, to be honest.
I think you're the one who told me that I was because it's her voice.
Oh, yeah, true. Okay, losing her voice and
Yes.
you have throat chakra problems. Not really anymore. But
and she's singing and her, all of that stuff.
Cinderella sings too, but the reason why I thought of Cinderella is because she has such a sad childhood. And she cries a lot in her room by herself.
She does. And
but
Cinderella has a lot of tolerance.
Yes, and she finds a lot of hope even though she's in like a dark situation. Yeah, and she remains kind-hearted all throughout. She embodies grace and kindness even in tough times. She's very tolerant.
Oh, I like that a lot.
She's pure-hearted out of all the other characters. She's not like Jasmine in like the sense that she's like rebellious.
Yeah, Jasmine's kind of like, totally rebellious. Ariel is, I mean, honestly, just stupid. 16 years old and you're going to change your entire species. Okay. Yeah, a little dumb. For somebody you just saw on a boat.
Yeah, and you would never be Belle because you would never fall in love with the beast. You'd be like, get me out of here. Stockholm syndrome, creeper, stalker. Like that would never be you.
Oh my God. Never.
You would not be Mulan. No offense.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. You would
I'd be like, Dad, you're going to the war. I'll be here when you're back.
Yeah, you would not try to selflessly obtain the honor of your family by going to war.
No.
Like, so yes, Cinderella, you maintain
Cinderella's
hope
a good
and
one.
kindness. Yeah.
Okay,
she has
now
a sad life.
I like
until
that
she doesn't.
I like that you went the Disney route because I love Disney. And that's a very easy reference for me. So I have mine for you. I would say yours is Moana. Because she is like a wayfinder looking for, like she's kind of, like she's also fearless and adventure seeking, right? Because wayfinders are kind of, you've watched that movie, right?
Yeah.
I love Moana. And I feel like, yeah, she has a lot of bravery in that sense. I just see you as someone that, like if you lived in that time, you would be like, I'm going to go. What is the song?
Out to the sea, come find me.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows. You'd be like, I want to know what's beyond the reef. And I would be like, who cares? Let's just stay within it. Like, why are you looking beyond? Let's stay within. Like, you'd be the one that's discovering more land and curious to know, like, what's beyond there. And I would not be curious to know what's beyond. So in that sense, I feel like you have such a high curiosity.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I was actually born on the day of curiosity. If you ever look into the secret life of birthdays, each day is called a certain thing. I forget what yours was.
You can look it up. Mine is.
But
probably
if you look up the
day
secret
of
life. Day of crying. No, I don't think it's that. I can't believe I forgot it. But yeah, I was born on the day of curiosity.
Which makes sense.
actually referenced the Moana movie and I forget which client it was. Oh no, I remember now. I'm not going to mention her name, but I sent her a link to the scene in Moana where, remember, like the evil version of
Tafiti.
Tafiti,
Yeah,
yeah, is
Tekha.
like is coming over to her, and she like doesn't turn away, and she like faces her with love, and then she like melts. And I just was like, oh my God, like that's us with our parts. And so she was talking about that. She was like, oh my God, I like realized that when I meet my parts without judgment, like they actually stop showing up that way, and I feel more integrated and whatever. And so I sent her this Moana scene, and she was like, no, that's like literally like a perfect depiction of what happens. And I was like, I know the writers at like Pixar are very spiritual.
They are. That's what makes me believe that I could write Disney movies and Pixar movies.
You could. You
Yeah,
could.
so you're Moana.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Okay, season, I already know. So easy. Summer.
Oh, that's easy.
So
You
easy.
spring.
Spring or fall? I think spring is my energy.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
yes, okay, that's true.
Not
I
which one is
prefer,
your favorite.
right. But yours is both your favorite and
Yes.
energetically what you are. Yeah,
Correct.
but spring, yes, I concur. That's a good one. Hobby, fire juggling.
Oh, the hobby you see me as.
Yeah.
Oh. This is interesting because
The
first of all,
hobby.
you
Okay,
actually don't have that many hobbies, but I wouldn't choose a hobby
one that
you
I do.
have.
Yeah, it's more
It's more
what hobby represents
mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I would
Okay.
say, like, again, I guess I just see you as somebody that takes a lot of risks in the face of danger
I
and
actually really like
adventures.
danger.
I know. And that's why I think of like fire juggling while you're like on a unicycle and like
That's actually something I
surrounded
want
by
to learn
like
how to do. I want
exactly.
not the fire juggling part. I mean, I'd be down, but I really think that I'd be good at unicycling.
But
Like
do
I
you see why
genuinely
I'm saying you're the Amazonian jungle and why I'm saying that you're always seeking adventure? Like you're somebody that'll pretty much not say no to anything. And the fire juggling is just like the most extreme thing I could think of that's dangerous and you would see as fun and I would see as not fun at all.
Do you want to know the reason I discovered? Okay, because I had as you know, I had my dance showcase this past week, and like the whole 2 days I'm like so jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like so much adrenaline and excitement. I love the feeling of being on stage. But I kind of thought about it more deeply over the week. Like, why? Like, what kind of crazy person am I that I seek these experiences, you know? And what I did kind of realize, other than just the usual, as in like, oh, I just like it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like having fun on stage or whatever. I think that that sensation for me is the furthest away I can get from sadness.
That makes
Like
so
I
much sense.
cannot feel sadness when I'm like feeling excited. And so I'll try anything that I perceive as like dangerous or exciting because it's so far away from sadness. Like if someone's like want to go surf, I'm like never done that before, but yeah. Like that's what I did in November, and the experience somatically was so like I was actually so scared for my first wave, and I thought I was going to vomit, but in a weird way I feel way more comfortable in that
Crazy.
than like sadness.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I can't say I feel the same.
Yeah.
I would much rather cry than try going on a surfboard.
I know.
Personally.
Okay, I have to think of a hobby for you.
I mean, yeah, like what energetically? If
Like
I were a hobby,
energetically,
what would I
you're just
be?
like you're like picking flowers. You're just like this one's nice. Ooh, this one's pretty. And you come home and you have this like little bouquet, and
Oh
you're
my
just like,
God. I
you
was
just
thinking
went.
like, yeah, something like cozy, like even like reading a book, like in a
Well,
corner with like
I was gonna
blankets.
say knitting, but I don't actually think you would like that at all.
But again, it's not what I guess it's like what that hobby induces, like the feeling. And I feel like the fire thing and it's like exciting and adventure-y and like that energetically has the same signature. But yeah, flower picking.
Flower picking. I'm keeping it.
Perfect. Let's do it.
That's what we're sticking with.
Okay, food.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, I know. Go ahead.
For food, I'm actually gonna go with your Leo moon.
All
Because I
right.
actually see you as a spicy food. Like I
Mm.
actually see you as like a jjigae. Because it's
Kimchi
like,
jjigae.
yeah, it's like boiling inside.
But it like warms the inside.
It warms the inside, and it's also like in a small pot. It's like you don't think it's gonna be as spicy as it is, and it kind of grows in spiciness with each bite.
Do I get spicier with each bite?
Yes, because if people get to know you, they actually learn that
Yeah,
you
that's
have
true.
more. How can I say this? You can experience more irritation than you let on.
Oh, definitely. I have a
Like,
very spicy side.
yes, and I don't think people see that when they don't know you very well.
Honestly, not even just the spicy side, but I'm very sarcastic. And I think a lot of people are surprised by that. Like, I joke a lot and I constantly kind of poking fun at myself or poking fun at you or, yeah.
I know, like
can see
people
that.
just see the bunny, but it's like, no, the bunny can
Yes.
bite.
Oh no, the bunny can bite.
The bunny can bite.
Oh, she can bite. Scratch.
Actually, you're more like bitey than me. Like it.
I think
almost,
it depends.
like,
I think it just depends. I would say that you and I are bitey in very different circumstances. The things that I bite at, you wouldn't, and vice versa. Okay, so food for you, I would say, is some sort of rice and veggie bowl.
I am a bowl. I'm a bowl.
With mushrooms for sure. Some sort of healthy something or other that I've never heard of.
Like some tempeh.
Yes, that would definitely be in there. Dressing potentially on the side, whereas mine would be like triple the amount.
I always ask for it on the side.
Always on the side. But to me, again, that's kind of like this mix and match of all of these different components, and every bite is a different like texture, and it's like an adventure
with a dash
in a bowl.
Of control, because the sauce is on the side.
With a dash of control. Yes,
it's mixed but controlled.
Yes, but actually like no spice or less spice.
Oh, there's no spice,
which matches the tolerance. Not the new tolerance, the old tolerance.
The old tolerance, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, someone asked me this past week because we went to go have hot pot, and they were like, "Oh, like what's everyone's spiciness level?" And I was like, 0. So we had to get there's like a mild broth, right? And then there's spicy broth, but yeah, I have no spice tolerance either.
You have some. You're Korean.
Yeah, like yeah, but I'm suffering when I eat kimchi jjigae.
You're suffering?
Like it's a painful experience, but I still enjoy it.
Painful I did not know that. You see? I'm learning so much. Color is going to be the easiest one ever. Burnt orange.
Yeah, pink.
Yeah. And then drink, I'm going to say, I think what it is cortado. Is that what you drink?
I do love a good cortado.
Yeah, that's what I think you are.
Short and to the point.
Short and to the point.
2 shots of espresso.
Yeah. It's like a poof, it's like a direct hit.
This is the final one, right?
Yes.
Drink?
Yeah.
Okay. I see you as an alkaline spring of water.
Oh my.
Like you are just like a steady flowing stream of fresh water.
Oh my gosh.
Essential, gives life to things, purifies. Wow. Yeah. Is powerful on its own.
Ooh. Wow,
needs no flavor.
Needs no flavor. Mm-hmm. I really like that. I mean, yours is also quite powerful and it energizes people.
Yeah.
And then it's energizing.
Yeah. And guess what? You need water to make coffee.
Oh my gosh.
So the cortado.
We need each other to well, actually, I don't need you to exist at all in this example.
You can exist alone.
I can just be by myself. I'm good. Wow, that was fun. I didn't know where we were going to go. Oh, wait, we didn't. Oh, we did do the season. Never mind. That was fun.
No, I really enjoy those because I remember when we did our marketing, our rebranding last year.
Yeah, that was fun.
Do you remember we had to send? I was stunned by what you said.
I think in there I did use the Amazonian jungle. Did I not? Did you find it?
I think you did.
Because that felt reminiscent to me.
Forest in my email and see if I can find it.
I mean, I'm sure I can find the email itself.
But you know what? I did find this email the other day because I was searching for something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then it came up. And I was like, oh, and I read it. Oh my God, here
You
it
find
is.
it?
Okay. So 5 words for you, 5 words for me. The 5 words for you were nurturing, empathic, bubbly, creative, funny. For me, they were fiery, energetic, vibrant, writer, confident. And then you
Mm.
actually said burnt orange is the color that comes to mind. And then you said, yeah, tropical rainforest, rich
Yeah.
with color and vibrancy, animals and plants of all shades and colors, layers upon layers of biodiversity.
Yes. See?
Okay,
Yes.
Gina. You said so many layers of amazingness. Beauty inside and out. The jungle also reminds me of a sense of adventure, which also reminds me of Sam. Zest for life on a quest to learn and discover more.
Wow. See, that's what I could have come up with if I had time to think about it. But I got to the same place.
Yeah. Okay, wait. What did I say for you? Yeah, I said bubbly, nurturing, quick witted, elegant, angelic.
Angelic.
Yeah, that's why you exist in a
That's
castle
why
upon the
I'm in
clouds.
heaven. I
Yeah,
like
I
it.
actually said, "Oh my God, when I think of Gina, I see lavender and pink all day, every day. Imagine the most beautiful pink and purple sunset you've ever seen, clouds that appear to be hanging from the sky, the kind you would daydream on. Clouds, 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 a dreamscape.
A dreamscape.
Nothing's changed."
Well, I guess that's a sign that we know each other.
Wait, I'm laughing so hard. The other question was, what are your 3 favorite things in the world? I said dogs, talking, and dancing.
That I don't think has changed
Since
since
I
you
was
were
like
like
8.
5. Yeah.
Yours
No,
yours was
literally.
a little bit more in depth. You said watching my daughter grow up. That's so sweet. Disneyland and then music.
Hmm.
The Disneyland and music has pretty much been probably the same since you were young too.
Well, I didn't go to Disneyland until I was like 13, and I only went that one time until I went
But
with
you
my
love
daughter.
Disney,
I
no?
did love Disney. Yeah, I've always loved Disney. I've been a Disney fanatic for a long time. But anyways, this was so fun.
This was so fun. I hope you all enjoyed this type of episode.
It's very
Give us
random.
some feedback, because if there's no value perceived in these or no frequency upgrade that happens because of these, let us know, because obviously one of our highest intentions is to bring up your vibe through our conversations. But I think that our natural joy and hopefully candid answers and just playful exchange
Yeah,
was beautiful for you to hear. And this is also why we do this podcast, is not just so that we can have like serious, awesome, helpful pieces of content, although that's definitely a part of it, but just also that we get to express ourselves and show you what's possible when you do
yeah.
the same.
And show the human side of us and be playful, because I think one of the biggest teachings that we talk about a lot is that healing doesn't have to always be heavy, and that it can actually
Yeah.
be quite healing to take a break from everything that we know and that we're learning. And I think that this was actually healing in such a beautiful way, because it helps me to see myself differently and to connect with these
Mm-hmm.
parts that you're naming, that I'm like, oh yeah, that is me. Because as we know, it's so hard to see ourselves through any other lens than what we're used to seeing all the time. And so we invite you to try this on yourself. I'd actually be curious to see what everybody names for themselves, but also do this with a loved one and see what they're reflecting back to you.
Yeah. Ooh, I wonder what I would have done for myself. I would have definitely gotten some of the similar things like burnt orange in summer and unicycling.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I would have picked those for myself.
Yeah. I think some
But
of them that would definitely be overlapping. But it's just, I think that when it comes to getting to know ourselves and being on this healing journey, what could be better than exploring through this more playful way?
yeah, I think that a lot of our conversations are about what patterns do you have,
Right.
which is really helpful too. Obviously, we want to help you develop and gain awareness over that and support yourselves in that, but sometimes we just have to see like the really cool, awesome things within us that we ignore. I feel like when we're on the healing journey, it might look like we're always looking for something to like fix about ourselves, instead of
Mhm.
also a lot of things to celebrate, a lot of beautiful things that maybe are overlooked by you on the journey that are actually really easy for other people to see. Like, I think we
Yeah.
came up with those answers very quickly on the spot. We hadn't thought about them in advance. And of course, I see you in your patterns too. But I think what makes you who you are is obviously not just your patterns. That's just a very, very small part of you. More of you is actually far more loving, expansive, creative.
A bunny in the sky.
Yeah, a bunny in the sky. A spicy soup. But yeah, try this on yourselves. Have fun with it. And know yourself to be more than just the pattern you're trying to heal.
Yeah.
That's just one part of the story. There's so much more to you. And we hope you enjoyed this candid conversation. And we will see you in the next one. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this honest conversation. We hope it brought you peace, clarity, and a little bit further along your spiritual journey.
If you loved this episode, it would mean the world to us if you left us a 5-star rating and a review so we can bring you more conscious conversations, spiritual topics, and guests.
And we lovingly invite you to join our free Spiraling Higher community by clicking the link in the show notes to continue this healing dialogue and share with us how this episode impacted you.
Come on in, introduce yourself, and meet your conscious besties in a safe space for healing conversations between us and other like-minded people on their healing journey.
Here's to Spiraling Higher.